Chapter 1859. Some time ago, Lawless Gang brought the Fearless Alliance members they abducted to China, and one of the Fearless Alliance members broke through the defenses and escaped, leading to many Lawless Gang experts hunting them down. Qin Ruoxi happened to follow the group to learn from them. That situation immensely affected Qin Ruoxi's mind. A single member of the Fearless Alliance was absolutely dauntless in the face of a dozen or so experts from the Lawless Gang. The Fearless Alliance member faced them empty-handed and killed 4 or 5 people before dying in battle. After that, the formidable strength of the Fearless Alliance became deeply ingrained in Qin Ruoxi's mind. Now, it turned out these experts in front of her were from the Fearless Alliance of the independent state. And that elderly man claimed Yi Wanwan was the president of the Fearless Alliance. Why are you wasting your words with Si Bai? Capture him first. Third elder snorted and swiftly dashed towards Si Bai. In the blink of an eye, third elder and Si Bai's palms met, sending each other back. Surprise surfaced in both people's eyes. The other person's strength made them wary. I'm gonna fuck you up, old fart. Big Dipper charged forward. 7 Star also joined the fight with him. Si Bai's strength was extraordinary naturally, so they couldn't seize him easily even with 3 people teaming up. First Elder, wreck him. Big Dipper shouted with confusion when he saw First Elder standing next to Yi Wanwan without any intention of moving. Chen. Just you 3 attacking will suffice. My bones are old and brittle, so I won't join the fun. It'd be better for me to stay by the president's side and protect her. After all, the president's safety is number 1, First Elder replied with a smile. Damn. Aren't you too unparticular, First Elder? Sis Feng needs your protection. Are you kidding me? Big Dipper glanced at First Elder with displeasure. If First Elder joined the fight, they would have seized Si Bai a long time ago, alright. 11 froze in his spot and gulped as he watched the fight, dumbfounded. Was this still a freaking fight between humans? Those Si family hidden guards were basically defenseless babies compared to these people. Master. Isn't this too much? 11 reflexively turned to Yi Wanwan with a stupefied expression. You'll get used to it, Yi Wanwan answered quietly. Master. I also want to become as strong as them. Teach me, Master, 11 brimmed with eagerness. Yi Wanwan, when she wasn't drunk, she couldn't be considered inept, but she was a bumbling fool when compared to First Elder and the others. Ha, I'll teach you whatever you want to learn. Don't trouble the president, she's very busy every day, First Elder butted in. Really? 11 intently looked at First Elder. Are you as strong as them? Of course. I'm a lot stronger than them. Why else would I be the First Elder? First Elder retorted. Awesome. 11 promptly gave him a thumbs up. They're so fast, is it like water walking? Their palm techniques are too frightening. Are they using Shaolin's 72 absolute techniques? Damn, that Big Dipper is fine after being hit by Si Bai even though the wall shattered from his impact. Is that golden shell and iron armor? I want to learn everything. I want to learn all of these master techniques. First Elder froze and silently glanced at 11 before uttering, scram. Chapter 1860. First Elder was rendered speechless by 11. Is this guy an idiot? Water walk. Shaolin's 72 secret techniques. Golden shell and iron armor. Did he watch too many movies? Master. Teach me. I've been a businessman on the outside for many years, but I discovered that I'm more interested in martial arts ever since I met Master. 11 wasn't discouraged by First Elder's blow and turned to Yi Wanwan instead. Yi Wanwan pinched her brows. Water walk. Golden shell. Iron armor, right. 11 nodded vehemently. Do you know them? I also want to learn. Yi Wanwan sighed at him. If you really can't, how about you visit Shaolin Monastery and ask? First Elder wasn't the only one who wanted 11 to scram, she did too. Did 11 get too infatuated from too many movies and novels? Where could she go to learn those techniques? She'd be willing to throw all her wealth away to learn them. Big Dipper was fine after Bai's strike despite the wall crumbling because his body was in fine condition and he had high endurance, alright? Golden shell and iron armor, PFT. If someone cut Big Dipper with a weapon, he'd still bleed and lose some flesh. Fine, 11 chuckled with embarrassment. Fairy tales were lies as expected. He thought these experts were like the ones he saw in novels and on TV. A loud bang suddenly rang out from nearby. Bai was having a difficult time fending off Big Dipper, 7-star, and Third Elder's simultaneous attacks, and he staggered back a dozen steps. Sister-in-law, I have something to discuss with you, Bai shouted. Yuan ordered Big Dipper and the others to stop and turned to Bai with a sneer. Speak. Heh. I didn't expect old Nine to be so lucky with women and actually kidnap the independent state's illustrious President Fearless to China, Bai said. Yuan chuckled lightly. Those words tickled her vanity. Bai surveyed Yuan with a frown. He had miscalculated this time. He never would have expected Yuan to actually be the president of the Fearless Alliance, Bai Feng. Could it be that Bai Feng went missing for so many years because she got kidnapped by old Nine Yihan? No wonder the Fearless Alliance later turned into a pool of loose sand. The rumor that Bai Feng died had circulated through many factions, which was why he controlled the lawless gang from afar and launched an attack on the Fearless Alliance. He originally planned to work with various factions and overtake the Fearless Alliance in one move, then absorb the Fearless Alliance's power and strengthen itself. However, a starving camel was still stronger than a horse. Despite losing their president, Bai Feng, the Fearless Alliance was still frighteningly formidable, and the lawless gang didn't profit much. His original plan was flawless, and he just needed to use other people to kill Old Nine. Who would have expected Old Nine to get his hands on President Fearless? What was more aggravating was that this President Fearless probably recovered her memory already and regained control over the Fearless Alliance. This was quite tricky now. Heh. Yuan. No, I should call you Bai Feng. President Bai, I think there's room for us to reconcile, Bai said amicably. Oh. I'm all ears, Yuan replied. She'd like to see what other trick Bai could pull out. Chapter 1861 was raised by fright. When the lawless gang attacked the Fearless Alliance before, the lawless gang was also seriously damaged, but we abducted many Fearless Alliance elites. I'm sure President Bai is aware of this. As long as President Bai can let bygones be bygones, the lawless gang can become good friends with the Fearless Alliance still, and I can return those abducted Fearless Alliance elites to the Fearless Alliance. Bai proposed with a faint smile. Everyone in the Fearless Alliance knew that Bro Flat Top of the Fearless Alliance might be cruel and savage, but she was also very loyal and cared about her comrades. Hence, Bai was planning ahead when he didn't kill those abducted Fearless Alliance elites. If the Fearless Alliance was to return to its peak and sought them out for retribution, or President Fearless returned someday, they'd have this bargaining chip on hand and could negotiate with the Fearless Alliance. Oh. Is that so? Yuan's eyes shifted. Ha! Of course, President Bai. Bai, keep my promises. I can also give Qin Ruoshi to President Bai so that you can address your grievances, Bai responded. What? The color drained out of Qin Ruoshi's face when she heard that. Qin Ruoshi? Yuan frowned. It appears you aren't that sincere. She's nothing to me. Damn. How can you freaking bring forward a random stray dog? Are you trying to mock our president? Big Dipper shouted scornfully. A sense of overwhelming feebleness washed over Qin Ruoshi as she looked at Yuan. Once upon a time, this woman named Yuan was akin to an ant in her eyes. If it weren't for Yihan, she could have easily pinched Yuan to death any time she wanted. Now though, this so-called ant actually became a deep gorge that she could never surpass. She and Yuan, no, she was the president of the Fearless Alliance, Bai Feng, now, were people from two entirely different worlds and dimensions. Yuan was the real titan now. And she had become a mere stray dog. Even Si-bai was very wary and fearful of this woman. I will look for my people myself. As for you, a man who is scheming every second and minute and wanted to kill me just now. I don't think there's any point in us having an exchange, Yi Wanwan responded disdainfully. Si-bai's expression changed instantly. Heh. So you're saying there's nothing to discuss, President Bai? Is that it? A cold glint sparkled in his eyes. You can interpret it like that. President Bai Feng, I gave you a chance, but it's you who didn't want it. You insist on both sides perishing, so there's nothing I can do. I think it'd be nice for all of you to die here today. I might suffer from the Fearless Alliance's endless hunt, but you'll definitely die earlier than me. Si-bai then whistled. A second later, a dozen or so men in black dashed out from the manor with guns in hand. Big Dipper and the others' expressions changed. He was a resident of the independent state, but he was freaking using guns. You're too fucking despicable and shameless, aren't you? How could you use firearms as a member of the independent state? Big Dipper angrily yelled as he pointed at Si-bai. A member of the independent state? Si-bai snorted. I was expelled from the independent state a long time ago. Moreover, I'm not in the independent state right now, so no one can control whether I use a firearm or not. Si-bai. Are you trying to scare me with these things? Bai Feng, was raised by fear. Yi Wanwan walked forward without a hint of fear, a bone-chilling smile on her face. Chapter 1862 We've been abducted. Si-bai furrowed his brows at seeing Yi Wanwan acting so calm. He didn't forget that this person was the dreadful President Fearless. Did you think we came empty-handed without any preparation? Yi Wanwan asked with amusement. Her group turned to her immediately. Si-bai asked coldly, what do you mean? I've covered your entire manor in timed bombs. The second we die, someone will press the remote, and the manor will explode into smithereens instantly. At that time, no one can dream of leaving, Yi Wanwan replied with a smile. Ha ha ha. President Bai, are you trying to scare me? Si-bai sneered. Am I? Yi Wanwan glanced at a spot on the walls around the manor. There were several Fearless Alliance members standing on the wall, each holding a red remote the size of their palm. Before coming to this manor, Yi Wanwan made all necessary preparations. They didn't need to worry about firearms in the independent state, but they weren't in the independent state. Of course, the supposed timed bombs were just to scare Si-bai and the remotes were also fake. However, Yi Wanwan was certain Si-bai wouldn't dare to act since he absolutely didn't have the courage to make this gamble. Moreover, Yi Wanwan discovered the snipers situated far away long ago. Big Dipper discovered these snipers secretly protecting them the whole time before coming to Si-bai's manor. She didn't need to think for long to realize they had to be Si Yihan's subordinates. At the first sign of Si-bai's people acting on their hostile intentions, the snipers' bullets would be faster than them. Ha ha ha. As expected from President Bai Feng. You have quite the skill, a vicious glint shone in Si-bai's eyes as he stared at her. Before he could continue, police sirens could be heard from the distance. The distant snipers immediately disappeared without a trace. Kneel! Yi Wanwan shouted at Big Dipper and the others at once. They didn't know what happened, but they subconsciously dropped to the ground. A few breaths later, the manor's gates were slammed open and dozens of fully armed police officers rushed in from outside. Drop your weapons! The police officers shouted loudly upon seeing the guns held by the lawless gang. What? Si-bai was struck by disbelief when he saw the fully armed Chinese police officers. They were surrounded by layers and layers of police by now. If they resisted, the consequences would be inconceivable. Without much thought required, Si-bai ordered the lawless gang members to drop their guns. Both hands around your head and kneel down. Now! Several police officers commanded harshly. Si-bai and his men all knelt on the ground accordingly with both hands around their heads. Boss, are you okay? You scared me to death. Director Zhou of Stars Entertainment suddenly sprinted over from the back suddenly. Sir, she's our boss. And these people abducted our boss and her friends, Director Zhou hastily said. The police officers naturally knew that Yuan Wan was the boss of Stars Entertainment. Officer, sir. This is the eldest brother of the Si family, Si Bai. We visited him as guests, and he wanted to forcibly conduct a business deal with us. But I didn't agree, so they used their guns to threaten me, Yuan Wan also anxiously interjected. Big Dipper, 7 star, First Elder, Third Elder, 11. Chapter 1863, Audacious and shameless. Yuan Wan's lips curled into an icy smirk when she saw Si Bai looking at her with malice in his eyes. She had made several plans on the way to Si Bai's manor, so everything was under her control. Aren't you too shameless? You actually called the police. Si Bai fumed with rage between gritted teeth. Si Bai never would have expected Yuan Wan to do something this audacious and shameless as the president of the independent state's fearless alliance. She had utterly disgraced the independent state. As residents of the independent state, any disputes or conflict was resolved with their martial strength. Who would call the police? This was a humiliation to both sides, and one would rather die than do something so shameful. Si Bai never even had the notion to call the police or expected Yuan Wan to do something like this. Si Bai. I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. You actually privately possessed so many firearms. I misjudged you, Yuan Wan said with a sigh. Police officers, I have something to say. This woman buried a lot of time bombs under my manor. Si Bai shouted to the police officer near him. Since Yuan Wan called the police, then they would all die together. He wasn't the only one who violated China's laws. Many officers were startled. There were also time bombs at this manor. Don't listen to his nonsense. If you don't believe it, you can verify it for yourselves. Yuan Wan refuted. Si Bai frowned deeply at Yuan Wan's uncaring expression. Could it be that there weren't any supposed time bombs in his manor? Was Yuan Wan just intentionally trying to scare him earlier? Since Si Bai's words were too serious, the police officers didn't dare to be careless and immediately called for the explosive department to conduct a search. However, after the manor was searched inside out, they didn't find any traces of the time bombs Si Bai mentioned. Si Bai wanted nothing more than to skin Yuan Wan alive. I got played by her. How did this kind of shameless person survive in the independent state? What? I'm a law-abiding citizen. We're different, Yuan Wan said expressionlessly. Law-abiding, Si Bai was incensed. You're simply contemptible and shameless. You don't deserve to be a resident of the independent state. So shameless, even if Si Bai didn't defeat the Fearless Alliance today or died in battle, he never would have sought help from the Chinese police. This was a matter of principle. He wasn't the only one. None of the factions from the independent state would do something like this if they traveled to another country. If news of it got back to the independent state, where would they put their face? A second later, Si Bai turned to Third Elder and the others. Why are you looking at me? Why does it have to do with me? I wasn't the one who called the police. Don't talk carelessly. Third Elder glanced at Si Bai with a tinge of guilt. No one in the independent state had any concept of calling the police. To them, this type of conflict abroad was akin to a fight between two children who called their parents because they couldn't beat the other child. It was simply. First Elder cut in, well. You did possess firearms illegally, so you did commit a crime. We didn't make you commit any crimes, so you brought it upon yourself, and it's unrelated to anyone. Chapter 1864, Clever indeed. First Elder blushed with embarrassment. This time, the President Fearless was truly a bit shameless. But their Fearless Alliance was very shameless anyway and never obeyed any rules, so it wasn't too strange for the President to do something this shameless. Big Dipper yelled, "What are you looking at, you criminal?" Blah. 7 star, 11 added, "I'm innocent. I just came here with Master to talk business." Who could have known my brother was a criminal? In the end, Yi Wanwan and Si Bai were all taken away so the police could learn about the matter in detail. However, Yi Wanwan and her group were released in the evening. After some investigation, Yi Wanwan and her group proved to be innocent while Si Bai had an illegal organization in China and illegally possessed a large amount of firearms, violating China's laws. Even if Si Bai wanted to drag Yi Wanwan down with him, he didn't have any grounds. After all, Yi Wanwan didn't break any laws or illegally possess any firearms. The biggest thing was that Big Dipper gave Qin Ruoxi a beating, but that was considered rightful self-defense in this situation, so he couldn't even be charged with assault. Qin Ruoxi tried her best to cut her ties with Si Bai, but the police's investigation rapidly discovered solid evidence that proved Qin Ruoxi was Si Bai's mistress and repeatedly managed many illegal dealings for Si Bai. Si Bai never would have expected his downfall to be in the Chinese police's hands. What was more despicable was that it was Yi Wanwan, a fellow resident of the independent state, who reported him. Si Bai had encountered all sorts of people in the independent state, shameless, malicious, etc., but he had never encountered anyone as shameless as Yi Wanwan in his life. After Yi Wanwan led her group out of the police station, she looked at them and asked with a smile, "So what have you learned from this matter?" I know. Big Dipper gave her a thumbs up. I have to learn to be someone as despicable and shameless as Sis Fong. Yi Wanwan, do you want to be freaking whipped? I have to learn to bullshit. 11 said. I think what the president wants to say is, if you can use outside force to solve something, then try to refrain from doing it yourself. It doesn't matter how shameless you are, third elder answered after a moment of contemplation. What I meant was, don't violate any country's laws. Si Bai is your lesson, Yi Wanwan corrected with an embarrassed expression. Then wouldn't our abduction also be considered a violation of Chinese laws? Big Dipper asked, dumbfounded. Abduction? Yi Wanwan glanced at Big Dipper. That was you, not me, Big Dipper exclaimed admirably, clever indeed. Anyway, how could that be considered abduction? Liang Meixian and Huang Mingquan were the true criminals, and we merely used some improper methods to force them to admit to their crimes. Also, did I hit them or curse them? No, right? Yi Wanwan added matter-of-factly. Then what about Liao Jiqi? Big Dipper questioned. That Liao punk won't leave even if we make him. He's pestering the president non-stop, so how could that be considered abduction? He willingly cooperated with us, First Elder replied with a faint smile. Yi Wanwan nodded. First Elder is right. Chapter 1865 Are you awesome because you're rich? Third Elder glanced at First Elder. It appeared this old thing managed to fully learn from the president's shamelessness. 11 looked at Yi Wanwan. Master, your life is so exciting. Let me follow you from now on. 11 imagined that this independent state must be an unworldly paradise. Since Ajio entrusted the Si family to you, you should stay with the Si family, Yi Wanwan said after a moment of thought. The Si family couldn't be leaderless. As the seventh brother of the Si family, it was most suitable for him to become the patriarch and manage the Si family. That was also Si Yihan's intention. 11 had no argument and could only sigh, nod and agree. I also want to visit the ancient Si clan in the independent state and see it. Isn't old 9 there? Logically speaking, I'm also a member of the Si family, so I'm a descendant of the ancient Si clan as well. Perhaps they'll see my extraordinary talents when I visit and allow me to stay in the ancient Si clan and train me emphatically. 11 said. Yi Wanwan, are you serious? Shoo, go back and play in your sandbox. Big Dipper glanced at 11. If it was really as you said, the ancient Si clan would have gone extinct long ago. How could they have thrived until now? There isn't a single weak person from the ancient Si clan. Every single one of them is an expert who can be a formidable leader in their own right on the outside. Even if I'm not good at martial arts. I'm decent at business affairs. Don't tell me you don't need to earn money in the independent state. Don't tell me the ancient Si clan doesn't need to eat. I've conducted business on the outside for many years, so I have a wealth of experience. I can tell what can make money and what can't at a glance, 11 said haughtily. So what if you're rich? Are you awesome because you're rich? Can you go to the independent state just because you're rich? Will the ancient Sea clan like you just because you're rich? It's fine if the ancient Sea clan doesn't like you. Our fearless alliance looks keenly on talented people like you. Big Dipper's words took a sharp turn, and a grin spread across his face. 7-star, Yuan, Sis Feng, let's bring Brother 11 back to the independent state. 11 is your disciple, Sis Feng, so you can't heartlessly abandon Brother 11 in China like this and ignore his fate. I absolutely won't allow it. Big Dipper exclaimed self-righteously. Yeah, Master. How about you bring me to the independent state so I can see the world? 11 eagerly added. What would happen to the Sea family if you went to the independent state? Yuan hit the nail on the head. It'd be better for 11 to remain in China. A place like the independent state didn't suit him, and 11 was considered an outsider to the independent state. It would require quite a bit of effort to obtain a permit for him, especially with the current relationship between the Fearless Alliance and the Martial Arts Union. The Martial Arts Union probably wouldn't give them any more allowances. A moment later, Yuan ordered the other 5 people to head to the Sea residence and Sea Bai's manor to look into the Fearless Alliance elite hostages while she herself headed for the Age of Immortals. Her business in China was essentially wrapped up, so she needed to let Gong Su, Han Xianyu, and the others know before her departure. As for her parents, she made arrangements already. Now that Yi Mufan returned to the Age of Immortals became Stars Entertainment's major partner without any distinction or withholding. Yao Jiawen, on the other hand, was kicked out of the Age of Immortals by Yi Mufan the moment he returned. He also reported Yao Jiawen for embezzling the Age of Immortals funds, so Yao Jiawen wasn't having a good time now. It wouldn't be long before she ended up in jail. Chapter 1866 Hand over the ring. Unfortunately, a place like the independent state wasn't suitable for everyone, or else it would have been nice for her to move the Age of Immortals to the independent state. Hello. When Yuan passed by a remote spot, a slim man popped out from somewhere and stopped her. Her location wasn't far from the Age of Immortals, and the skies were gloomy, but it wasn't raining, so Yuan had decided to walk. Yuan frowned as she observed the thin man blocking her. She didn't know this man, nor had she ever seen him before. What is it? Yuan probed furtively. No need to panic, I don't have any ill intentions, the man quietly answered. I stopped you today merely to extract something that doesn't belong to you. Something that doesn't belong to me? Yuan was startled by his answer. What did he mean, something that didn't belong to her? She didn't know this man at all, so she shouldn't have ever taken anything of his. Yuan snorted. Heh. I'd like to hear what doesn't belong to me and what you'd like to take. The ring on your finger. The thin man didn't beat about the bush and got straight to the point. His gaze landed on the ring that Si Yihan handed to her recently. This. Yuan looked at the simple ring pensively. When Si Yihan handed this ring to her, he told her that this ring originally belonged to her and he merely kept it safe for her, but he didn't know the use and history of this ring either. Yuan didn't expect she would become a target as soon as she received this ring. Who are you? Yuan asked. You don't need to know that. This ring doesn't belong to you, so you just need to hand it over, the slim man answered expressionlessly. What a joke. Yuan smirked coldly. I'm wearing this ring, so who does it belong to if not me? Don't tell me it belongs to you. Yuan previously didn't take this ring to heart, but it appeared this ring definitely wasn't a simple accessory. There had to be some kind of secret behind it, or else who would come and try to steal this ring? So, you aren't willing to hand it over. The slim man started slowly walking toward Yuan. Then I'll have to take it myself. The slim man stopped in front of her and reached for her ring. Yuan tilted to the side. However, the man's hand followed like a shadow and easily grabbed Yuan's left shoulder. Only then did Yi Wanwan realize that this man could have even been a top expert in the independent state. She wouldn't be able to withstand even a move from this man in her sober state. Unfortunately, Yi Wanwan hadn't carried any liquor with her after arriving in China, since she never expected to encounter any sort of real danger here. Yi Wanwan's eyes shifted, and she looked at the man. There is a way for you to get this ring. You just need to tell me who you are, and why you want this ring. I'll give it to you then. None of your business, the thin man retorted. Chapter 1867. Report your name. It appeared it won't be easy to weasel information out of this man. Yi Wanwan examined her surroundings. She should find a way to leave this place in this current situation. Even if she got an answer regarding the ring's history and purpose, what would she do if this man stole the ring? I don't want to hurt you. You just need to give me the ring and I can leave. How about it? The man apathetically asked. Yi Wanwan snorted. This is my ring. We'd have to see whether you can take it or not. An icy frostiness surfaced in his eyes. Don't do things the hard way. His mission was to secure the ring on this woman. Although he received orders that prohibited him from killing her, it didn't mean he couldn't injure her. Several shadows suddenly flitted past and landed around Yi Wanwan. We're late, President. The men in black said to Yi Wanwan apologetically. Yi Wanwan nodded upon seeing the newcomers. These people were the Fearless Alliance elites she brought from the independent state, and they were all formidable experts who were responsible for operating in secret. Punk, I'm advising you to truthfully tell me who you are and why you want my ring. If you don't tell me, you won't be able to leave so easily today. Yi Wanwan's confidence was bolstered by the arrival of the elites. Oh. The thin man swept his eyes over the men and aloofly said, I'm afraid these people alone won't be able to protect you. Are you looking down on us? The Fearless Alliance elites were enraged instantly. They were members of the Fearless Alliance. When had they ever been looked down upon? This was an immense humiliation to them. Yi Wanwan ordered, keep his life. Don't kill him. Before she could finish, the Fearless Alliance elites were sent flying back under her nose. The slim man retracted his hand and calmly looked at her. Give me the ring. Yi Wanwan was stupefied. What kind of monster was this man? How was he so strong? Those were elites that Big Dipper and Seven Star chose meticulously, but they were sent back by this thin man within seconds. President, this man is truly too strong. We aren't a match for him, so please attack yourself, President Fearless, an elite said to Yi Wanwan reverently, his face pale. Punk. You're dead. Are you blind? Do you know who this is? To these elites of the Fearless Alliance, Yi Wanwan was equivalent to unbeatable, so that thin man would die without a doubt as soon as Yi Wanwan attacked. Yi Wanwan, you were freaking better off not coming. If these Fearless Alliance elites hadn't come, she could have run at least. Now, this was just perfect. She couldn't beat this man or escape. It wasn't like she could flee for her life in front of all these Fearless Alliance elites. Wait. Yi Wanwan cleared her throat. I don't let nameless ghosts die in my hands. Report your name first. Chapter 1868. Bring me the alcohol. The thin man glanced at Yi Wanwan. No need. Yi Wanwan looked at the Fearless Alliance elite seriously. I'm a bit thirsty. Does anyone have liquor on them? Thirsty? The Fearless Alliance elites were startled. Shouldn't she drink water if she was thirsty? Why did she want to drink liquor? They'd never heard of liquor quenching thirst. I do, a Fearless Alliance elite answered immediately. Yi Wanwan became joyous. She was just making one last struggle but didn't expect them to really have some. Yi Wanwan accepted the bottle and looked at the nearby man. Don't say I didn't give you a chance. There's still time for you to run for your life. Yi Wanwan tried her best to refrain from drinking alcohol since what would happen in her intoxicated state was unpredictable, but this man was insensible. Upon seeing the man's unmoving attitude, Yi Wanwan didn't waste her words and poured the bottle's contents into her mouth. Her expression shifted the instant the liquid touched her tongue, and she threw the water bottle onto the ground. I freaking wanted liquor. Why the heck did you give me water? The elite who handed the water bottle to Yi Wanwan paused before saying grievously, but, President, you said you were thirsty. I didn't think alcohol could fix that, and I happen to have water on me. Yi Wanwan, if I hit you now, you might pass away on the spot. Give me alcohol. Yi Wanwan tried to calm down. Okay, the Fearless Alliance elite dazedly pulled out his liquor gourd and handed it to her. Are you, looking down, on me? Chilly frostiness glazed over the thin man's eyes. At a time like this, Yi Wanwan actually ignored him completely and asked for water and liquor like no one else was around. What a joke. Of course our President Fearless is looking down on you. Who do you think you are? You can't even compare to an ant in our president's eyes. Why aren't you taking a leak so that you can look at your shitty self? Someone like you wants the president's respect? A Fearless Alliance elite mocked contemptuously. Yi Wanwan, good man. You mustn't listen to his nonsense. I really do respect you. Regardless of her thoughts, she couldn't reveal any cowardice on her face and had no choice but to pretend to look down on this thin man. Yi Wanwan hastily opened the gourd when she saw the man speedwalking toward her. The second she opened the gourd, however, she wanted nothing more than to kick that elite to death. Where's the freaking liquor? Yi Wanwan reflexively shook the gourd toward the ground but only got a few drops. The Fearless Alliance elite pensively muttered, oh, right. I think I drank it all, President. Yi Wanwan questioned herself, is there really no one reliable in the Fearless Alliance? I shouldn't have freaking let Big Dipper choose the people. Yi Wanwan was in an extremely bad mood. Yi Wanwan didn't know whether to cry or laugh when she saw the man within inches of her. Her life was hanging on by a tether. Maybe she should just give the ring to him. Chap, it's not good to steal from a girl in broad daylight like this, no? A white shadow flashed by before Yi Wanwan could pull her ring off. The sudden newcomer stunned Yi Wanwan. Chapter 1869. Invincible in the world. Silver hair that fell to his waist and an easygoing smile that hung on his face. It's you, Yi Wanwan was surprised. After a pause, Yi Wanwan exclaimed, Duguchobai. Duguchobai. The Fearless Alliance elite's gazes all landed on the man. Damn, this name, aren't your parents too arrogant? It is a bit arrogant. There was actually someone named Duguchobai in this world. Did they read too many novels and watch too much TV? The man flushed at their strange looks and hastily waved his hand. What Duguchobai? Cut it out. That's my username. It's a username, not a real name. Anyway, Duguchobai is history. I_V changed my username. The silver-haired man quickly corrected her. Changed it. Yi Wanwan promptly blurted out, what did you change it to? Invincible in the world, the silver-haired man answered. Yi Wanwan, the Fearless Alliance elites, invincible in the world? This is more freaking arrogant than Duguchobai, alright? Yi Wanwan carefully observed the silver-haired man. She once hit him with her car during her time in China. However, the car nearly had to be scrapped from the impact, but the silver-haired man was fine, so she thought she'd seen a ghost. After that, this silver-haired man rescued her from the assassins sent by Nye Linglong. Additionally, this silver-haired man claimed he had a disciple named Little Worryless. Yi Wanwan suspected that this silver-haired man's disciple was her, Worryless Nye. The probability was great, but it couldn't be confirmed before her memories were recovered. Chap, how could you do such an immoral, corrupt, disgraceful, and illicit act in broad daylight with the sun bright above us? It's truly despicable, the silver-haired man proclaimed as he looked at the thin man. Yi Wanwan felt there was something strange about his words. Chap, I can't allow you to act in this manner in front of me. If you stubbornly persist in your path and refuse to leave, a cold glint flashed through the silver-haired man's eyes, then I'll call the police. The Fearless Alliance elites, Yi Wanwan, did calling the police require such a grandiose prologue? The thin man looked at the silver-haired man with a frown. It's you, fine, it's a small world, so goodbye for now. The thin man then turned to leave without a word and disappeared. The silver-haired man smiled. Young people nowadays truly can't endure much fright. I didn't even bring my phone, but he really thought I'd call the police. Yi Wanwan imperceptibly studied the silver-haired man. The thin man absolutely didn't leave because the silver-haired man wanted to call the police. He seemed to recognize the silver-haired man instead. Before departing, the thin man uttered, "It's you." Yi Wanwan's curiosity in the silver-haired man grew. Just who was he? The thin man possessed frightening strength, but the silver-haired man managed to scare the thin man off without any fighting with his identity alone. It was truly unbelievable. "President, do you still need liquor?" "I'll go and buy it," a Fearless Alliance elite asked as he stood up. Chapter 1870. What if I am worryless? Nya, no need, Yi Wanwan said. "Buy your ass. He's already fled, so why do I still need alcohol?" "President?" The silver-haired man was surprised and furrowed his brows. "What kind of president? President of where? You wouldn't know even if we told you. Have you heard of the independent state? The Fearless Alliance? You must have not heard of President Fearless, right, country bumpkin?" A Fearless Alliance elite glanced at the silver-haired man. He was called Dugu Chilbai, and then freaking invincible in the world. What a true country bumpkin. "You guys leave first," Yi Wanwan ordered the elites with a wave of her hands. Yes, the elites nodded and left. After they left, Yi Wanwan pensively looked at the silver-haired man. Could he really be worryless Nya's master? Unfortunately, she couldn't draw up a single sliver of her memories. That's not right. A strange emotion surfaced in the man's eyes. "What's not right?" Yi Wanwan asked inquisitively. "You're actually the long-missing Bai Feng of the Fearless Alliance." The silver-haired man seemed to find this notion difficult to comprehend. Bai Feng is just the surface. My real identity is still worryless Nya. Then it looks like I was mistaken. My disciple is worryless, not Bai Feng, the silver-haired man murmured. Only Ji Xiuran and few other people knew about worryless Nya being bro flat-top Bai Feng. Whether it was Si Yihan or this silver-haired man or the madam and patriarch of the Nya family, they were all clueless. "Are you saying your disciple is called worryless Nya? Could she be from the Nya family of the independent state?" Yi Wanwan pried furtively. He looked at her. "That's right. My disciple, worryless Nya, has been missing for many years. I originally thought it was you, but I must have been mistaken from the looks of it." Worryless Nya was worryless Nya, bro flat-top of the Fearless Alliance was bro flat-top of the Fearless Alliance. They were two completely different people. "What evidence do you have to prove you're worryless Nya's master?" Yi Wanwan asked after a moment of thought. No matter what, before she recovered her memories, she didn't dare to rashly reunite with this silver-haired man if he didn't have any direct evidence that proved he was worryless Nya's master, even if he saved her twice. Ever since she arrived in the independent state, there had been too many foggy and confusing conspiracies around her, especially after she obtained this ring. There seemed to be a bigger conspiracy slowly surfacing, so she had to act more prudently and vigilantly from now on. "What do you mean evidence?" "My word is evidence," the silver-haired man said. Then faster than Yi Wanwan could see, the silver-haired man took the ring off her finger. Yi Wanwan frowned at him but didn't say anything. "Is this ring worth a lot?" The silver-haired man carefully studied the ring. "There's nothing special about it though. There isn't even a jewel on it, so what's there to steal about this lousy thing?" "Return it to me if it's invaluable then," Yi Wanwan retorted cheerfully. Here. The silver-haired man returned the ring to her. Yi Wanwan probed curiously, you really don't know the purpose of this ring?" This silver-haired man definitely had an extraordinary identity, but even he didn't know the purpose of this ring. "Blah, waste of time." The silver-haired man shook his head and turned to leave. "Hold on," Yi Wanwan called out, "what if I said I was worryless Nya?" Chapter 1871. The silver-haired man stopped and sized Yi Wanwan up. "What are you saying? You're worryless Nya? Don't I look like her? Yi Wanwan retorted. Not really right now. The silver-haired man shook his head. Not really right now. So did I resemble Worryless more closely before? Or do I know how to change faces and switch appearances in the blink of an eye? You say you're Bai Feng of the Fearless Alliance 1 minute and Worryless Nya the next. Are you trying to trick me? The silver-haired man glanced at her strangely. I'm Worryless Nya, Yi Wanwan said. If you're Worryless Nya, then who is Bai Feng? The silver-haired man frowned. TM also Bai Feng, she answered. If you're Bai Feng, then what about Worryless Nya? What mumbo-jumbo is this? My head is dizzy because of you. The silver-haired man looked displeased. Isn't it me who should be dizzy? Yi Wanwan said, forget it if you don't believe it. What evidence do you have to prove you're my disciple, Worryless Nya? The silver-haired man asked after a moment of silence. Then what evidence do you have to prove you're Worryless Nya's master? Yi Wanwan retorted. Without concrete evidence that proved this silver-haired man was Worryless Nya's master, Yi Wanwan kept her reservations about him even if he did save her twice. I don't want to waste my time with you. Since you said you're Worryless Nya, then let me ask you, why didn't you recognize your own master? Do you have amnesia? You said you're Worryless Nya's master, so why didn't you recognize your own disciple? Do you also have amnesia? You, little miss, are rather silver-tongued. Fine, after you return to the independent state, I'll have my method of confirming whether you're Worryless Nya or not. After saying that, the silver-haired man turned and left without looking back, disappearing without a trace. Yi Wanwan was speechless. Wasn't this too bizarre? If the silver-haired man didn't know she was his disciple, Worryless Nya, why did he save her twice? Or perhaps he merely couldn't confirm it was her since she bore some similarities to Worryless Nya, as Nameless Nya once mentioned. Yi Wanwan was very curious about this silver-haired man's identity. Could he really be my master? Even if this silver-haired man didn't recognize her despite being Worryless Nya's master, she wouldn't find it strange or odd. After all, even her own parents and brother didn't recognize her. Speaking of which, she was probably raised by her maternal grandfather since she was young and rarely encountered people from the Nya family. Perhaps her grandfather prohibited her from seeing Madame Nya and Patriarch Nya entirely, as well as Nameless Nya. If things were like that, it'd be pardonable for the Nya family to not recognize her. However, her master's inability to recognize her was a bit dumb, no? Before Yi Wanwan could mull it over any longer, a car rapidly drove toward her and parked on the street. A second later, Big Dipper, 7 Star, and the others rushed out of the car. Sis Feng, you got robbed. Where is he? I'll kill him. Chapter 1872. Big Dipper was the first to reach Yi Wanwan and furiously looked around her. Yi Wanwan glanced at him. If she had waited for him, her corpse would have cooled already. Are you alright, Sis Feng? 7 Star asked as he inspected her. Yi Wanwan shook her head. It's nothing. How dare someone act as shameless as our Fearless Alliance and publicly rob someone in broad daylight with the sun bright above us? Are they trying to steal our business? Big Dipper exclaimed furiously. Do you know the other person's origin, President? First Elder asked as he walked forward. When they followed 11 to investigate the whereabouts of the Fearless Alliance members imprisoned by Si Bai, they received a call saying the president was ambushed and their Fearless Alliance elites weren't a match, so the other person probably came from the independent state. The independent state probably, Yi Wanwan replied. Third Elder frowned in contemplation and said after a moment, could it be someone from the lawless gang, President? They just tricked the lawless gang's leader, Si Bai, into the police station, so it would be reasonable for the lawless gang to retaliate. I don't think so. Yi Wanwan shook her head. With the lawless gang's current state, an expert like that wouldn't fit in there. Moreover, that person's intentions were very obvious. He didn't come for her life, he came for her ring. So he probably wasn't connected to the lawless gang. Strange. Our elite said that person wanted to steal your ring, President, First Elder said to her. That's right. Yu Wanwan admitted it frankly. President, what kind of ring is it? Would it be alright to let me take a look? First Elder asked. Yu Wanwan didn't consider it for long since she didn't need to stay on guard against First Elder and the others. Yu Wanwan immediately pulled her ring off and handed it to First Elder. 7-star, Big Dipper, and Third Elder quickly surrounded it as well. The ring in First Elder's hand was simple and dull, forged from some unknown material. A closer examination revealed a stalk of wheat inside the ring, but this ring couldn't look any more ordinary. Are you done yet? Let me see. Third Elder glanced at First Elder. First Elder handed the ring to him. Third Elder studied it for a moment but couldn't uncover anything. Third Elder, come, let me see the ring too. Big Dipper hastily extended his hand toward him. Third Elder merely glanced at him but ignored him and directly returned the ring to Yu Wanwan. President, this ring has some years on it, and the material is a bit unusual. So it should be rather valuable, Third Elder said after some thought. Valuable? How much is it worth then? Yu Wanwan asked reflexively. That's hard to say, Third Elder shook his head. He wasn't a ring seller, so how would he know how much it was worth? Aside from being valuable, what other use does it have? Yu Wanwan asked. Other use? Well, it's valuable. Aside from being valuable, I can't see any other purpose. Third Elder was dumbfounded. Could this ring have another purpose? Yu Wanwan immediately turned to First Elder. Everyone knew that the most knowledgeable and experienced person in the Fearless Alliance was First Elder, so perhaps he knew other purposes for this ring. Chapter 1873, President, I also don't know any other special quality of this ring. If no one came to steal it, I would have thought this ring was a mere accessory. But if it's just an accessory, why would it cause an expert from the independent state to come and steal it? No matter how valuable it is, no one should dare to steal from our Fearless Alliance. Unless it's unrelated to money and holds some other special meaning, First Elder said after some thought. Yu Wanwan naturally realized there was another use for this ring, but the actual use was the important part. If they couldn't figure it out, keeping it on her would be risky. Of course, this risk only applied to China. She didn't believe that anyone would dare to steal from her after she returned to the independent state. President, after we return to the independent state, I'll have someone look into this matter thoroughly. If we discover the culprit, we'll make them suffer a fate worse than death and eradicate their whole clan. Third Elder's eyes coldly glinted. It had always been their Fearless Alliance who stole from other people. This was the first time someone tried to steal from them. Moreover, the victim of the robbery was the president of the Fearless Alliance. If news of this got out, it would humiliate the Fearless Alliance worse than calling the police to catch Si Wutian. Yu Wanwan didn't care too much though since the ring was still in her possession and didn't get stolen by the slim man. She also didn't have much hope for discovering his identity. Since the slim man knew her identity but still brazenly came to steal the ring, it meant two things. First, the slim man made preparations ahead of time, and the Fearless Alliance wouldn't discover him even if the Fearless Alliance conducted an investigation to their full abilities. Second, the power behind the slim man wasn't inferior to the Fearless Alliance, and he wasn't afraid of the Fearless Alliance seeking retribution from him. Their hands would be tied even if Third Elder discovered anything. To Yu Wanwan, it didn't matter whether they investigated it or not. Before Yu Wanwan could speak, her phone started ringing. The caller ID showed, Most Beloved Darling. This was Yu Wanwan's nickname for Si Yihan's phone number. Big Dipper caught a glimpse of the caller ID on Yu Wanwan's screen, and his eyes shot open and glowed brightly. Damn! Most Beloved Darling. Who did you give such a sickening nickname to, sis phone? Who? 7-star looked at Yu Wanwan with a furrow of his brows. Yu Wanwan herself was surprised when she saw the caller ID. This number hadn't lit up her phone for a long time. After a moment's pause, Yu Wanwan sardonically picked up her phone. Hello, my dear. He especially used this Chinese number to hint at her that he wasn't in the independent state, right? What great effort he went through. Big Dipper shivered and muttered to 7-star, shit, Sis Feng's dainty voice is giving me goosebumps. Where are you? Si Yihan's cool and low voice was heard from the other end. Me? I'm in Imperial City, of course. What's up? Yi Wanwan replied matter-of-factly as she blinked. The voice warmed a few degrees. Nothing. Don't run around wildly. Chapter 1874, I got it. You told me many times already. Look at how well-behaved I am, do I look like a disobedient person? Don't worry, I'll stay in the country and won't run around wildly. Yi Wanwan vehemently promised. 7-star frowned when he overheard this. Big Dipper quietly exclaimed, damn. What's going on with Sis Feng? Didn't we decide to leave? Why did she change her mind the second she got a call from a stray cat outside? Isn't this too unscrupulous? Big Dipper was frightened by Yi Wanwan's fickle attitude. 7-star still remembered the love Gu and Sis Feng, and they had to go back and think of a cure as soon as possible, so they definitely couldn't stay in China for long. Now, she wanted to stay in China for a man. Wasn't she risking her life trivially? On the other end of the call, Si Yihan refrained from commenting on her words but decided that Yi Wanwan wasn't lying after some thought. After all, he managed to mollify her that other day, so there was no reason for her to return to the independent state. Si Yihan's worries were eased temporarily, and he said, wait for me to come back. Yes, I know. I'll be good and wait for you at home. Hurry and come back, okay? Yi Wanwan's voice was especially soft and agreeable as she promised. 7-star's expression darkened with every word she spoke, and he wanted to interrupt several times but resisted. After being lovey-dovey for a while more, Yi Wanwan finally hung up and promptly turned to look at 7-star. Did you book the plane tickets yet? What? 7-star was startled and swallowed the words he wanted to say. Yi Wanwan pursed her lips. I'm talking about the plane tickets back to the independent state tomorrow. 7-star reflexively nodded. I booked them. Great. We'll depart tomorrow then. Yi Wanwan replied. 7-star asked in a daze, didn't you just say, you were staying in China? Sis Feng. Yi Wanwan raised her brows and glanced at her phone. You believe the words people say when they're pacifying someone? 7-star, Big Dipper, Sis Feng's lip service was truly too slippery. If it weren't for her typical hose over bros character, why would they worry? Who knew she'd resist beauty so staunchly this time? Big Dipper whispered in 7-star's ears. I know. It's not because Sis Feng changed her nature, it's because the independent state has more beautiful men. 7-star, Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes at Big Dipper. What are you muttering about? What are you saying this time? Big Dipper hastily waved his hand. Nothing. Oh right, Sis Feng, I just wanted to ask. Are you really married to that patriarch of the Sea family? The president's marriage was very significant, after all. Yi Wanwan cast her eyes down in silence for a moment before turning to look at the distant night. She aloofly replied, who knows? What? Big Dipper asked. What does this mean? Doesn't Sis Feng know whether she's married or not? Big Dipper and 7-star looked at each other with clear exasperation in their eyes. Yi Wanwan didn't say anything more and entered the car, ordering Big Dipper to drive toward the Age of Immortals. At the same time, at some location in Imperial City, the silver-haired man sat in a minivan with a deep frown on his face, as though he was thinking about something. I didn't expect it to be that ring, the silver-haired man murmured, surprise and worry surfacing on his face. Impossible. That ring should have been utterly destroyed after that incident in the independent state, so why? Unease grappled his mind. Before Worryless Nya went missing, he clearly told her that the ring absolutely shouldn't exist and had to be destroyed. And his disciple, Worryless Nya, destroyed the ring in front of him. So why did that ring still exist? And why was it in Worryless Nya's possession? Chapter 1875, Master, did you find little junior sister? A woman with seductive looks entered the van and asked the silver-haired man. The silver-haired man nodded. I did, little junior sister is seriously. We just discovered she went back to the independent state and wanted to go there to find her, but now, she came running back to China. She's really wild. The alluring woman chuckled lightly. So where's junior sister, master? Your junior sister lost her memory. I didn't acknowledge her, the silver-haired man replied. Eh. The alluring woman's expression turned strange, and she couldn't understand. Why didn't you acknowledge little junior sister, master? Now isn't the time. The silver-haired man shook his head. When your little junior sister went to the independent state, she was clearly in an amnesiac state, but for some reason, she still managed to become President Fearless. Ha, the alluring woman chuckled. Do you need to ask, master? There aren't many people in the entire independent state who know little junior sister Worryless Nya is by phone, but Emperor Ji does. Emperor Ji must have recognized little junior sister, so it'd be easy for him to help little junior sister recover her identity. After all, the Nya family currently has a fake Worryless Nya, but helping little junior sister recover her status as President Fearless should be a piece of cake. Moreover, you know how little junior sister gets when she's drunk. I can guarantee that little junior sister must have gotten drunk at least once in the Fearless Alliance. The silver-haired man also laughed, a wave of memories washing over him. That was true. Once his little disciple was drunk, the torrential power inside of her couldn't be stopped even in an amnesiac state. However, Worryless currently doesn't have her memories, so how do you know she acted the way she used to after consuming alcohol? The silver-haired man looked at the alluring woman. The woman smiled. I saw Emperor Ji once, and he told me the whole story. I see. The man was pensive. Everything made sense then. If it weren't for Worryless Nya drinking and exposing her nature, it would have been impossible to make the Fearless Alliance completely believe she was by phone. Those elders of the Fearless Alliance especially, each one was more astute than the next. It was impossible to fool them. Master, let's reunite with little junior sister. I miss her to death, she suggested impatiently. However, the silver-haired man shook his head. It would be better for Worryless Nya to recover her memories on her own. Moreover, if they did reunite, how should he explain to her what happened before she lost her memory? That would truly be too cruel for Worryless Nya. It might even be worse than death. If Worryless Nya was unable to accept it or, unwilling to remember it, it would be her internal demon forever. Master. Your worries are. But that matter, the alluring woman questioned hesitantly. That's right. The silver-haired man sighed softly. If we reunited, I would tell her everything, but it isn't the time now obviously. The alluring woman was silent for a moment before sighing as well. I know that. Little junior sister blames herself, but that matter, isn't her fault. She didn't do it on purpose. She still vaguely recalled Worryless Nya's tortured state when Worryless Nya video called Master and her many years ago. It wasn't that Worryless Nya was too weak. In fact, Worryless Nya was strong enough, but anyone who encountered that same situation, regardless of their gender, probably wouldn't have had the courage to continue living in this world. In the end, Worryless Nya was hunted down. When she and Master arrived, they faintly saw a man taking Worryless Nya away from the independent state. Chapter 1876. But they weren't able to see that man's appearance clearly. Later, the silver-haired man caught wind of some news, so he came to China in search of Worryless Nya's whereabouts. To the seductive woman, Master was probably unwilling to reunite with little junior sister because he pampered little junior sister too much. If little junior sister kept hounding Master, he probably couldn't withstand it and would spill everything. Once little junior sister learned the truth, the consequences would be inconceivable. Master, should we leave the little junior sister alone without any care then? The woman looked at him in incomprehension. They finally managed to confirm little junior sister's identity after all the trouble and found her. Shouldn't they reunite with her? The silver-haired man stayed silent for a moment before looking at her. What's there to worry about? Your little junior sister couldn't be any freer. As the president of the Fearless Alliance, she has a bunch of experts around her protecting her. The seductive woman carefully thought about it and realized that was the truth. Then, Master, when can we reunite with little junior sister? Let's wait until Worryless recovers her memory on her own. The silver-haired man sighed. At the same time, as Big Dipper drove, he kept peering at Yi Wanwan in the back. Hey, Sis Fong. Just how much is your ring worth? Drive properly. Stop looking at me. Yi Wanwan glanced at him. Okay. Big Dipper had no choice but to focus on driving and didn't dare to look behind him again. Have you found the Fearless Alliance members abducted by Si Bai? Yi Wanwan asked as she turned to the others. 7-Star nodded expressionlessly. Yes, we found them. Sis Fong, we had a total of 20-something members abducted by the lawless gang, but only 11 people remained. But we called the police and got Si Bai and a dozen or so lawless gang members captured, so we didn't lose anything and got our revenge, Big Dipper hastily interjected. Third Elder, in the front passenger seat, glanced at Big Dipper. Can he freaking stop mentioning how we called the police? Say, Sis Fong. Isn't it a bit too humiliating how we called the police to capture Si Bai in China? If word got back to the independent state and other factions learned we called the police, where would our pride go? Big Dipper asked. Third Elder, Yi Wanwan glanced at Big Dipper. What's humiliating about that? It was Si Bai acting shameless first by using firearms, and we called the police second. It's not like we called the police while everyone was fighting with their bare hands. That's the principle, but the prohibited usage of firearms is only the independent state's rules. Members of the independent state aren't as restricted in other countries, Big Dipper refuted. That's right. As you said, there aren't as many rules in China, so why should we abide by the independent state's rules still? We're in China, a country with a proper legal system, Yi Wanwan retorted. Third Elder, thinking about it like that does seem to be the case. 7-Star agreed. Yes, Big Dipper also added, true. I'm convinced. Yi Wanwan swept her eyes over the other four. When they were in the independent state, they didn't find anything humiliating, but they had so many concerns after coming to China. How surprising. With Yi Wanwan's directions, Big Dipper soon parked the car in front of the Age of Immortals. Director Yi. Chapter 1877. When the guards at the Age of Immortals entrance saw Yi Wanwan and her group appearing suddenly, they immediately received her in surprise. Hello, Director Yi. Hello. Yi Wanwan smiled at them. The security looked flattered, as though they were dreaming. Yi Wanwan was the top boss of Stars Corporation. It was extremely difficult for even international superstars to see Yi Wanwan. They couldn't see her whenever they pleased. Is CEO Yi here? Yi Wanwan asked. Huh? Aren't you Director Yi, L? An employee blurted out automatically but realized something was amiss, so they immediately corrected themselves. Oh, you're referring to Yi Mufan, CEO Yi. He's here, I'll bring you to him. Sure. Yi Wanwan nodded. Soon, Yi Wanwan entered the Age of Immortals canteen. Aside from Yi Mufan, Jiang Yanran, Gong Su, Luo Chen, Han Xianyu, and Chu Feng, who she hadn't seen for a long time, were also present. They were sitting at the same table and eating the company canteen's food. Damn, Brother Yi. Gong Su was the first to see Yi Wanwan and shot up excitedly at once. Wanwan, why are you here? Yi Mufan immediately put down a half-chewed pig's foot and reflexively wiped the grease on his hands on his clothes. Fuck me. The expensive suit I just bought. Yi Mufan looked like he ate shit as he stared at the grease stains on himself. Yi Wanwan thought, wasn't it you who smeared that grease stain a second ago? You're all eating. Big Dipper swaggered up and nonchalantly sat down next to Jiang Yanran. Hello. I think that's my seat. The pushed-away Chu Feng stared at Big Dipper, baffled. Seeing as it was someone brought there by Yi Wanwan, Chu Feng couldn't blow up rashly. What's that about your seat, my seat? Your name isn't on it, chap, aren't you too tactless? Shoo shoo shoo, go sit somewhere else, right? Goddess. Big Dipper turned to Jiang Yanran toward the end. Jiang Yanran, Sis Wanwan, the bewildered Chu Feng immediately turned to Yi Wanwan. What was happening? Big Dipper. Yi Wanwan shot Big Dipper a displeased look. Chu Feng was Jiang Yanran's proper boyfriend, and they were about to get engaged. Why was he trying to butt in? 7-Star expressionlessly walked toward Big Dipper before he could speak and picked him up before aloofly turning to Chu Feng. Sit. Chu Feng sat back down dazedly. Just what was happening? Damn. Old 7, are you a freaking human? How could you separate me from my goddess? Tell me, did you take a fancy to my goddess? Big Dipper was brimming with resentment. Big Dipper, this is Chu Feng, Jiang Yanran's boyfriend. Yi Wanwan was forced to tell him the truth. Big Dipper looked at Chu Feng in immense shock and disbelief. Damn. No way. How is that possible? Punk, get up. I'm going to fight with you. We'll sign a life and death pact. Chu Feng's lips twitched. He didn't seem too willing to pay attention to Big Dipper. Damn, punk, can't you freaking give us a break? Yanran is about to get engaged, what fuss are you making? Yi Mufan glanced at Big Dipper. 1. Many managerial positions are just shortened to manager XXX in Chinese when addressing someone regardless of whether they are CEO, director, president, etc. Chapter 1878, I don't care. I won't accept it. Gong Su, my bro, help me punch him. Big Dipper's gaze landed on the audience member, Gong Su. Bro Big. Gong Su looked trapped. He was friends with Chu Feng, so how could he shamelessly beat Chu Feng? Plus, Chu Feng didn't do anything. Can't you be more promising? 7-Star turned to Big Dipper. That's right, bro Big. As they say, there's plenty of fish in the sea, so why are you so hung up on one fish? The ancient saying is right, there are plenty of beautiful women in this world. You can pursue anyone you want, Gong Su prattled on incessantly. Ignore him. This is how he is. You'll get used to it. Yi Wanwan couldn't be more embarrassed. Sis Wan, don't worry. I'm used to it. Chu Feng smiled faintly. Jiang Yanran currently had too many admirers, so he was already accustomed to it. Big Dipper was decent still, there were many crazier suitors out there. Punk, I'm telling you, treat my goddess well. If you dare to bully my goddess in the future, I'll make you thoroughly understand 2 words. Big Dipper fumed with rage. Which 2 words? Gong Su blurted out. Die Sunless, Big Dipper harumphed. Big Dipper then turned to Yi Wanwan as though he'd suffered an immense grievance. Sis Wanwan. I broke up, Yi Wanwan, when did you even freaking start dating? Bro Big. I know several sisters who look pretty sweet, Gong Su quietly said after walking toward Big Dipper. Oh. Big Dipper's eyes brightened. Bro Big, how about, you teach me a move or 2? Because of Brother Yi, I luckily signed on with Stars Entertainment, and I'm preparing to enter the international scene. After carefully thinking about it, I finally decided the tough man style suits me the best. How about you come to my house sometime, Bro Big, and we can explore the tough man route together, Gong Su seriously asked. Yes. From the first time I saw you, I thought you were very suited for the tough man style. How about you call those girlies Anne? I'll come to your house tonight, and explore it in detail. Big Dipper agreed thoughtfully. Yi Wanwan, enough already. Didn't you just break up? Yes, that's doable, Gong Su smiled before turning to Yi Wanwan. Bro Big, I'm not connected to those girls in any way. I just know them. I mainly want to introduce them to my bro Big. That's all. Big Dipper also turned to Yi Wanwan. As they say. Who else can an injured heart love? I think I'll become a heartless Casanova from now on. My heart won't hurt as long as I don't love. Yi Wanwan wondered if she could call the security here to kick these two idiots out. She couldn't stand them anymore. No, you can't go. 7-Star furrowed his brows at Big Dipper. Why? I have to help my bro, Gong Su, walk the tough man route. Big Dipper protested. That's right, that's right. Why won't you let my bro Big go? Gong Su hastily interjected too. 7-Star didn't speak and coldly looked at Gong Su. Gong Su immediately switched tracks and seriously said, Actually, I think it'd also be nice if I went the scholarly route. I don't have to go the tough man route. Bro Big, don't come if you don't have time. It had to be said that 7-Star's expression was truly too frightening. We have to leave soon. Don't run around and cause havoc. After relaying this final order, 7-Star didn't say anything else. Chapter 1879 Chapter 1879 Give me a girlfriend as compensation, leave? Where? Gong Su pressed anxiously. Far away. Big Dipper sighed. Thinking about it, if he could stay in China and party every day with Gong Su, it'd be rather nice too. Then, when will you come back? Gong Su's face filled with sadness. Winter probably, bro Big, aren't you being insincere? Gong Su's lips twitched. Winter probably, he said. Luo-chan dragged Gong Su away before Gong Su could say anything else. Oh right, how's the investigation on Yao Jiawen? Yi Wanwan pushed Yi Mufan, who resumed eating his pig foot again, to the side and sat down. That damn bitch, that ingrate. Yi Mufan put down his pig foot and scornfully said, the investigation finished. She embezzled several large sums of money from the company and committed a white-collar crime, so she got arrested. She probably won't be released within several decades. We let her off lightly, Han Xianyu commented with a smile. It's a rather befitting punishment, Jiang Yanran said. Back then, Yao Jiawen secretly embezzled the company's funds and shoved all of the crimes onto Yi Wanwan. Not only that, but she also acted like a mighty hero who didn't fear hardship and led the Age of Immortals out of its plight. Just thinking about it made them nauseous. Thankfully, after Yi Wanwan returned, she shattered Yao Jiawen's public image and dished out some sweet justice. Yi Wanwan knew Yao Jiawen would get arrested for sure, so she didn't pay it too much heed. How's Emperor Sky Entertainment? Yi Wanwan asked her brother. I merged Emperor Sky Entertainment and the Age of Immortals. Emperor Sky Entertainment has quite a large number of artists, but the current focus is Han Xianyu, Gong Su, and them. We won't consider other artists until they rise above the A-list, Yi Mufan replied. Ha, exactly. We shouldn't let one's own fertile water flow into others' fields. My brother Yi is the boss of Stars Corporation. Before this, I never dreamed of signing a contract with Stars Entertainment. I've met so many of my idols. I love you to death, brother Yi, Gong Su said. Yeah, Han Xianyu nodded in agreement. Not everyone could sign onto an international entertainment company like Stars Entertainment. They possessed too many wealthy resources, so Stars Entertainment could easily make them into international superstars. As long as they didn't behave suicidally, there wouldn't be any problems. Brother Yi. Thank you. Luo-chan looked at Yi Wanwan and wanted to say something but could only make out, thank you. No words could describe his gratitude toward Yi Wanwan. If it weren't for Yi Wanwan, he would be nothing. What? You want to make me cry? Yi Wanwan asked Luo-chan in amusement. No, Luo-chan shook his head. Wanwan, without you, we wouldn't be where we are, Jiang Yanran said. The greatest benefactor she'd met in her life was Yi Wanwan. Ever since their school days, the assistance Yi Wanwan had given her was truly too much. Sis Wanwan. I'm also grateful for you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have gotten together with Yanran, Chu Feng also said. What? Big Dipper was surprised and instantly turned to Yi Wanwan grievously. Sis Wan Wan. It was actually you who introduced my goddess to this punk. I don't care, you owe me a girlfriend. Give me a girlfriend as compensation. Yi Wan Wan glanced at Big Dipper. I'll sit with you for a bit. Big Dipper. Chapter 1880 Give the position to you. Yi Wan Wan turned to Yi Mufan and said, Dad and Mom called me and told us to come home to have dinner in a few days. Take advantage of the next 2 days, and get in touch with Director Zhou from Stars Entertainment. I already let them know that Stars Entertainment will be working closely with the Age of Immortals. Damn. Really? That's too awesome. Yi Mufan was beside himself with excitement. Before, Stars Entertainment merely gave them a pinch of resources and it allowed the Age of Immortals and Emperor Sky Entertainment to rise almost an entire level. As for intense collaborations, they never dreamed of this. However, after thinking about it, Yi Wan Wan was the boss of Stars Corporation, so he, Yi Mufan, could also be considered a manager or something at Stars Entertainment at least. They were a family anyway, so these fertile resources had to be reserved for their own people, of course. Good sister, Yi Mufan suddenly smiled ingratiatingly at Yi Wan Wan. His expression couldn't be any more ass-kissing. What babble do you want to fart now? Yi Wan Wan glanced at him. Yi Mufan was definitely up to no good. Ha ha ha, Yi Mufan chuckled. Good sister, you're too crude. Don't be like that. I'll leave if you won't talk, Yi Wan Wan said. Don't. I suddenly thought of something that I think is necessary to discuss with you. Yi Mufan asked, what do you think of my abilities? Yi Wan Wan was startled, not understanding why Yi Mufan was asking out of the blue. Decent, Yi Wan Wan answered truthfully. Sister, do you still remember how you fired a branch director of Stars Entertainment at the anniversary celebration? Yi Mufan probed. Yes, Yi Wan Wan recalled that it was Xiao Heng's grandfather that she fired. Good sister, say. I think that I would be a good fit for the empty director position now with my abilities. Now that Emperor Sky Entertainment and the Age of Immortals have merged, we will be entering a period of rapid development. Additionally, we're going to have deep collaborations with Stars Entertainment, so why don't you give the empty director position to me? It'll work in everyone's favor. Yi Mufan hastily finished. He'd coveted that position for a long time but couldn't muster the courage to voice it. Yi Wan Wan was pensive. In truth, Yi Mufan could succeed as a director without any problems with his current strength. However, no matter what, Stars Corporation was still Second Elder's asset. Yi Wan Wan immediately went to the restroom and called Second Elder. President. Although Stars Corporation is my asset, to put it plainly, it belongs to the Fearless Alliance. It was you who granted the starting fund to me back then, President, so you can do whatever you want. I won't have any objections, Second Elder responded on the other end after Yi Wan Wan explained the situation to him. Yi Wan Wan left the restroom after the call ended. She said to Yi Mufan, 3-month trial period. Damn. Good sister, I'll buy you a feast. Ahahaha. Yi Mufan was a bit lost in his exhilaration. After giving them a few more instructions, Yi Wan Wan departed from the of Immortals with Big Dipper and the others in tow. At Golden Seas, the Yi family's turmoil finally calmed during this period of time. Liang Wanjun made a table of dishes, and Yi Mufan also entered the kitchen and made several of his signature dishes. Their family managed to gather together on this rare occasion. Mom, let me help you. Chapter 1881 Are you saying my daughter isn't worthy of him? As soon as Yi Wan Wan entered the kitchen, Liang Wanjun kicked her out and exclaimed, Ah, no need. It's smoky in the kitchen, so go and wait on the sofa. There's some fruit on the coffee table, have some. Let your brother do it. Yi Mufan also frantically nodded while he had his apron on. How could a girl do such rough work? I'll do it. And so, Yi Wan Wan had no choice but to move to the sofa. Yi Xiaoting, who had been hesitant to speak the whole night, cleared his throat and sat down next to his daughter. He furtively probed, Wan Wan, where's little ninth, President C? Why haven't we seen him recently? His daughter's boyfriend was actually the president of the C Corporation. He still felt like he was dreaming. Yi Wanwan took a bite from an apple before replying, he's been busy abroad lately. I'll bring him home another day. Yi Xiaoting sighed worriedly. Oh, child, how could you keep such an important matter from us? Yi Wanwan coughed. Dad, I didn't lie to you though. He does work at the C Corporation. Yi Xiaoting glanced at his daughter exasperatedly. Ah, I don't know who you resemble. Your guts are growing bigger and bigger. Dad, of course I resemble you. A tiger father doesn't beget a dog child. Yi Wanwan promptly flattered him. Ah, you. President C has a powerful position. Is he in a serious relationship with you? Liang Wanjun asked fretfully. Yi Xiaoting glanced at his wife. What are you saying? Who do you think my daughter is? Forget about the Age of Immortals and Emperor Sky Entertainment, but she's also the boss of Stars Corporation. Are you saying my daughter isn't worthy of that Si Yihan? What a joke. Yes, you're right, Liang Wanjun placated him with a smile. Yi Wanwan paused as she watched this blissful scene with her family. Even though she already knew the truth behind her background, she hadn't grown emotionally distant from Father Yi, Mother Yi, and Yi Mufan. The warmth they gave her filled an empty and unfulfilled corner of her heart. She previously had someone secretly investigate Yi Wanwan and discovered that the real Yi Wanwan died many years ago in that terrorist attack abroad. In truth, she was hesitant about whether she should tell them the truth or not. On one hand, she herself didn't know all the details and didn't know how to explain it. On the other hand, she was truly worried they couldn't accept it. Regardless of the reason, the reality was that she took over Yi Wanwan's identity. Out of guilt and responsibility, as well as the warmth they provided to her, she would definitely safeguard the Yi family and their happiness and well-being for the rest of their lives even if she wasn't the real Yi Wanwan. At that moment, she sharply heard Yi Mufan hastily dashing over with a metal spatula in hand. What? Busy with work? How could any work be more important than his girlfriend? Ah, Wanwan, brother is telling you, you mustn't believe this busy with work excuse. You have to keep a close watch on him and prevent him from getting up to no good. You're better off believing there are ghosts in this world than a man's mouth. Yi Wanwan was speechless. Please, you're also a man, alright? What man would talk about men like you? That's why I'm going to visit him tomorrow. Yi Wanwan didn't want to light him and went along with him. Since she needed to leave China and return to the independent state, she naturally needed an excuse, so she straight up told her family she was visiting her boyfriend. This was indeed a great excuse. Yes, that's right. You have to keep a strict watch on him. I'll take care of the company and Dad and Mom, so don't worry. Yi Mufan vehemently promised. Liang Wanjun affectionately looked at her daughter. Regardless of little Ninth's identity, he looks like a good child and treats you well, so be sure to get along with him well. Plus, Wanwan, it's time for you to plan for your marriage. Indulge in some romance and go out to have fun and relax. Don't worry about us and the company. Yi Xiaoting also nodded. That's right. Leave everything else to your brother and me. Rest easy and go have fun. Yi Xiaoting always felt like he owed his daughter a lot and tried his best to make it up to her. Warmth brimmed with Yi Wanwan's face. Thank you, Dad, Mom. Don't worry. I'll definitely bring a certain someone back here. Chapter 1882 You have to use some tricks on men. Yi Mufan glanced at Yi Wanwan and lightly bumped her shoulder with a laugh. Actually, you have to use some tricks on men, and a man like Si Yihan requires extra techniques. Sister, I'm telling you, that I, your brother, am endowed with immense advantages and extensive experience in this area. Do you want me to give you some tips? Yi Wanwan's expression was strange when she heard this. Endowed with immense advantages and extensive experience. Why does something sound odd about that? I didn't realize you studied men so much, Yi Wanwan blurted out. Liang Wanjun and Yi Xiaoting glanced at Yi Mufan. Yi Xiaoting admonished him, "Don't meddle in this and mess things up for your sister. How can a man like you say this kind of thing without any shame?" Liang Wanjun looked worried. "Mufan. Don't tell me, you don't like girls." The corners of Yi Mufan's lips twitched. "I'm a man, so I know a man best. Is there a problem with that? How does it have anything to do with whether I like girls or not?" "That's good." Only then did Liang Wanjun relax. "Sis, I'm telling you. Approaching a man requires a lot of tricks, especially for a man like Si Yihan. You need to play hard to get and view it like flying a kite, keeping a good grasp on your rhythm and loosening or tightening the strings skillfully." However, before Yi Mufan could finish, Yi Wanwan coldly interrupted, "How about I turn you into a kite? Does he think all men are as scummy as him?" "Forget it, loyal advice is jarring to the ear, so I'll drop it. But sis, if Si Yihan bullies you, don't be scared. Tell me and I'll definitely pummel him to the ground," Yi Mufan declared. "Who knows who'll be the one pummeled to the ground?" All right, even food can't keep your mouth shut. Hurry and eat." Yi Xiaoting chuckled. Complicated emotions gushed into Yi Wanwan's heart as she watched this harmonious scene, especially with the truth in mind. Although she didn't feel estranged from this family, her parents, and her brother at all, she still wasn't the true Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan didn't know if she should reveal the truth or how she should tell them the true Yi Wanwan died many years ago. Could her parents and Yi Mufan handle the truth? The next day, Yi Wanwan was eating breakfast in the living room. Liang Wanjun had packed all her luggage for her already, bought a lot of new clothes for her and stored them in the suitcase. Aside from clothes, there was also a lot of food. A mother couldn't help but worry about their journeying child. That was how it always was. "Mom, no need to prepare so many things. I can buy whatever I need later," Yi Wanwan said to Liang Wanjun as she accepted the suitcase. "Nonsense. Preparing everything ahead of time is better than fretting over it when it's missing during your travels." Yi Xiaoting put down his book. "Dad, I understand." Yi Wanwan had no choice but to accept. "Oh right. Wanwan, I have something I've been meaning to ask you." Yi Xiaoting looked at her and asked, "How did you become the owner of Stars Corporation?" "Dad, it's a long story. I actually don't have a lot of shares in Stars Corporation, but those friends of mine have a good amount, and everyone thinks I have a decent mind for business. So they listen to me a lot." Yi Wanwan concocted a random tale. Chapter 1883, That Actually Happened. Yi Xiaoting was bewildered. He had met Yi Wanwan's friends and the two scholarly elderly men, and they didn't look like ordinary people. Yi Xiaoting didn't completely believe Yi Wanwan's explanation, thinking it sounded overly hasty. However, there was nothing false about the fact that Yi Wanwan was the owner of Stars Corporation. As for how Yi Wanwan became its owner, Yi Xiaoting didn't bother wasting his words since Yi Wanwan didn't seem willing to talk. "Dad, no more chit-chat, I have to go now, or I might miss my flight." Yi Wanwan bid farewell to Yi Xiaoting and Liang Wanjun and pulled her suitcase away. Outside the door, Big Dipper, 7 Star, and the others had been waiting for an unknown amount of time. After leaving Golden Seas, 7 Star turned to Yi Wanwan. "Sis Feng, about your mission from Scarlet Flames Academy, that's right. Didn't you come here to complete that mission to eradicate defected mercenaries from Scarlet Flames Academy?" Big Dipper also asked hastily. Yi Wanwan was startled and looked at 7 Star and Big Dipper. "Didn't we eradicate them?" Everyone had an odd expression when they heard that. "We eradicated them. When was that? Why weren't we aware?" Yi Wanwan pulled out her phone and looked at yesterday's news as she murmured, "They should be considered eradicated, right?" The news reported that the Chinese police destroyed a criminal group and the informant was Si Bai, and this criminal group was Si Bai's base for the lawless gang in China. The news article featured several photos of the arrested lawless gang members, and Yi Wanwan confirmed it with the photos she got from Scarlet Flames Academy. They were all defected mercenaries. Bai previously admitted that the lawless gang took in many defected mercenaries from the independent state, so those defected mercenaries naturally became a part of the lawless gang. Damn, the lawless gang is finished just like that. What a novelty. Big Dipper couldn't stop his amazement as he read the news article. First Elder shook his head. China is a powerful country. No matter how fearsome the lawless gang was, they had limited manpower, so they'd be asking for death if they wanted to fight with the police. Unless the police were empty-handed and unarmed. Otherwise, with hundreds and thousands of guns pointed at you, what else would you be but dead if you dared to resist? Yi Wanwan glanced at First Elder. First Elder was truly a wise person. After coming to China, they were in someone else's territory, so you had to follow the rules and do as the natives did. If you violated China's rules, no one would joke around with you. Yi Wanwan put the phone back in her pocket. She didn't know whether Scarlet Flame's Academy would acknowledge this or not. Soon, they arrived at the airport and boarded the plane after some chatting. They reserved the whole plane again. On the enormous plane, there was only a total of 5 people, Yi Wanwan, Big Dipper, 7 Star, First Elder, and Third Elder. Where are the others? Yi Wanwan surveyed the plane's interior curiously. President, I arranged for them to remain in China and protect Liang Wanjun, Yi Mufan, and the others. There will be 2 teams changing shifts every 3 months. This time, I didn't have them come back with us to give them some time to familiarize themselves with China's situation, First Elder answered. Yi Wanwan nodded in satisfaction. As expected, she could count on First Elder, and he knew her well. I also thought about that, you just got there before me, Third Elder grumbled with displeasure. Oh right, where are those Fearless Alliance members held hostage by the lawless gang? Yi Wanwan asked another question. Chapter 1884, President, I arranged for them to go back first, Third Elder answered as he stepped forward. They were missing from the independent state for too long and missed home a lot. Plus, they weren't in a good state, so, nicely done. Yi Wanwan nodded. Third Elder smiled and glanced at First Elder provocatively. At the independent state's airport, the plane steadily descended and landed. After switching several planes and taking 2 ferries, Yi Wanwan and her group finally arrived at the independent state. As soon as Yi Wanwan reached the independent state, she released herself from her shackles and tossed aside her sunglasses, face mask, black haute couture windbreaker, and the brand name necklace on her neck. She switched into the loose and ragged black martial arts clothes she typically wore in the independent state as well as a pair of flip-flops. Not having the burden of an idol felt rather nice. In China, she had to maintain her appearance in front of her artists and her fans. Yi Wanwan couldn't help but chuckle when she thought about this. Once upon a time, when she first came to the independent state, she still remembered how she had to tread on thin ice and lived every second in trepidation. Every word she spoke had to undergo careful deliberation. Now, within a mere few months, she went from an illegal stowaway outsider to gradually adapting to life here and started living like a fish in water. It was true. Even if her memory was tampered with, something that was in her bones couldn't be changed. At the same time at Azura's headquarters, in the garden, Lin Kei languidly sat on a rattan chair and drank some tea before saying to the man who was reading documents next to him, what a feat, what a feat. Congratulations, 9th brother, you finally took care of that girl. They originally thought it would be a series of tribulations, but they didn't expect 9th brother to take care of it just by showing his face. Lin Kei bootlickingly flattered, you're still awesome, 9th brother. As soon as you appeared, you managed to make that girl listen to you with your face alone. Before they left, they called Yi Wanwan again to make sure and confirm that she wouldn't leave China before resting easy and leaving themselves. Si Yihan looked at Lin Kei on this rare occasion, evidently in a good mood. Inform Jiang Yan and summon all the branch heads. We're having a meeting in the afternoon, Si Yihan ordered. Lin Kei sighed. As soon as you come back, you work non-stop with no regard for your life and only sleep 2 to 3 hours every night. Are you trying to become an immortal? He suddenly missed that girl. At least she was someone who dared to force him to sleep. Yi Wanwan and her group took the special channel, so they quickly reached the airport arrivals area. Ah! I hadn't had enough fun yet, but we're back already. Big Dipper grumbled regretfully. 7-Star rolled his eyes at Big Dipper and ignored him. He swiftly reported everything that happened in the Fearless Alliance while they were gone and her upcoming agenda. Yi Wanwan just woke up on the airplane and was a little dazed still. She scratched her hair and absent-mindedly listened before saying, Alright, got it. Oh right, 7-Star, any news on the matter I had you investigate regarding Emperor Ji? Her main reasons for going to China were helping out her father and brother and searching for traces of Si Yihan. As for the Academy's mission, she only finished the A-rank mission of destroying the defected mercenaries organization to obtain 5,000 honor points. At the Scarlet Flames Academy's competition last time, she obtained 5,000 points for breaking the record and 10,000 points for winning first place at the competition. Combined with the 10,000 points from finishing 2 A-rank missions, she had a total of 25,000 points. Chapter 1885. However, a single hypnosis session from the headmaster would cost her 50,000 honor points, and after using all her points, she still owed the headmaster 25,000. She required a total of 4 hypnosis sessions, so she still can't acquire 175,000 honor points, an astronomical number. She had to hurry and think of a way to acquire enough honor points. 7-Star's face darkened and his brows furrowed. Sis Feng, I don't think you should interact too closely with that sir. Yi Wanwan felt a headache rising as she heard 7-Star starting to nag again. If you don't look into it for me, I'll walk through the Ji Estate's entrance and ask him myself. 7-Star's expression froze. He pursed his lips and had no choice but to answer. I don't know the history behind the ring that Emperor Ji always wears. It should just be an ordinary accessory though, since I just heard the news that the auction item Emperor Ji is donating for the charity auction in 3 days happens to be that ring. If it was a very important item, he probably wouldn't offer it up for an auction. Yi Wanwan's eyes brightened. Great! The heavens were seriously helping her. Her honor points still drifted in the distance, and she was just fretting over how she was going to gather them. She originally intended to spend some money and buy it from Emperor Ji if it wasn't anything too important. Since Emperor Ji happened to be donating the ring for charity, she could use this chance to buy it. Obtaining a personal ring from Emperor Ji was an S-rank mission, so this ring alone could provide 10,000 honor points, which was a considerable amount. Sis Feng, what are you planning to do? 7-Star asked, raising his guard. Yi Wanwan scratched her chin and confidently proclaimed, we'll go to the charity auction in 3 days. That ring will be mine. Big Dipper's eyes shone as he clicked his tongue. Don't tell me, Sis Feng. You fooled that Patriarch C and hastily rushed back because of Emperor Ji. Bidding for his personal ring at a charity auction to collect it. TSK, isn't that the same as confessing publicly? 7-Star's head pounded upon seeing his president's old habits kicking in again. He hastily tried to convince her, Sis Feng, there will be many wealthy women and socialites attending that day, and the price for Emperor Ji's personal ring will definitely skyrocket. The Fearless Alliance's recent expenses have been too great, so I'm afraid, we can't afford it. 1885. Couldn't you be more tactful? Yi Wanwan raised her eyebrows. I know we can't afford it. But isn't this an auction? 7-Star expressed his incomprehension. Big Dipper instantly hooked his arm around 7-Star's shoulder. Old 7, are you dumb? If Bro Flattop, the president of the Fearless Alliance, went to an auction and bidded on something, who would dare to bid with her? Even if she started the bid at $1, no one would try to outbid her. Sis Feng, attending an auction is the equivalent of robbing someone openly. 7-Star, Yi Wanwan, although I also thought that, can't you say it more tactfully? Big Dipper was right though, who would dare to contend with President Fearless for what she wanted? That would be knowingly seeking trouble for themselves. Yi Wanwan planned to express her shamelessness to the max. In light of regaining her memory, she wouldn't lose anything by being a little shameless. Soon, the group made their way toward the Fearless Alliance. The Fearless Alliance's headquarters, Yi Wanwan sauntered into her office. Great White, Little Black. As soon as Yi Wanwan entered the office, she saw the White Tiger and Black Panther curled up together, black melting into white harmoniously. When Virus caught sight of her, he instantly got up and climbed on his hind legs, pouncing at her with excitement in his eyes. Chapter 1886. When Virus stood up, his black shadow towered over Yi Wanwan, and she wrapped her arms around him. Great White also stood up immediately and paced around Yi Wanwan affectionately, appearing like he missed her a lot too. Yi Wanwan chuckled happily and madly petted and rubbed her two pets. President. President, are you here? A familiar voice suddenly came from outside the office door. Before Yi Wanwan could ponder it, the door was pushed open and a figure shot in. President, the figure was about to dash toward Yi Wanwan when a furious roar from Virus drained the color out of the newcomer's face. Fu Mingxi. Yi Wanwan was startled when she saw the man in front of her. Wasn't Fu Mingxi in China? Why was he here? Mingxi, don't act insolently. An elderly man slowly walked into the office and shot Fu Mingxi a look. This elderly man was the second elder of the Fearless Alliance. Fu Mingxi, why are you here? Yi Wanwan called back Virus and had Fu Mingxi and second elder sit down. I asked grandfather, and he told me you were coming back, President, so I came back a day before you, Fu Mingxi answered. Yi Wanwan, this punk truly won't go away. Isn't it good to be an international superstar in China? Why does he have to run about everywhere? Second elder, thank you for your help this time. Yi Wanwan ignored Fu Mingxi and turned to second elder. What are you saying, President? Stars Corporation belongs to the Fearless Alliance, so of course the President can use it however necessary, second elder hastily replied. Before Yi Wanwan could respond, first elder, third elder, Big Dipper, and 7 Star entered the office. When third elder saw second elder and Fu Mingxi, his expression shifted. Damn, you're like a piece of dogskin plaster, punk. We can't shake you off no matter where we go. Big Dipper said with a strange expression. Fu Mingxi actually came back earlier than them. He freaking came prepared. Second elder, aren't you too shameless? Third elder looked at second elder with displeasure rolling off of him. How am I shameless? Second elder's expression chilled. You actually made your grandson come. Are you trying to usurp the Fearless Alliance? Third elder jeered. I don't have time for you. Second elder smirked. It was the president who agreed to this matter back then. If the president gets together with Mingxi, then Mingxi has to help the president share her internal and external responsibilities. What's wrong with that? You, third elder nearly coughed up a mouthful of blood. He really couldn't find any good argument. Actually, President. I have several sons who are decent, third elder immediately said to Yi Wanwan with a big grin on his face. President. First elder also wanted to say something. You what? Do you have a son? Third elder glanced at first elder. Do you have a grandson? Second elder also asked him. First elder, enough. Enough. Yi Wanwan exasperatedly waved her hands. What was this? A matchmaking party? My husband has been decided already, so stop the needless worrying, Yi Wanwan said with a sigh. Grandfather, the president took a fancy to a pretty boy, Fu Mingxi said to second elder. Second elder chuckled and said to his grandson meaningfully, Mingxi, the president isn't married yet, so as they say, contend for the president's hand fairly. Grandfather believes in you. Yi Wanwan, is this shamelessness hereditary? Chapter 1887, Don't worry, grandfather. Fu Mingxi looked at second elder, his face brimming with confidence. Go on, Mingxi, grandfather believes in you. Second elder nodded at his grandson in satisfaction. Yi Wanwan, didn't I tell them clearly that I have a lover already? Do they not understand human words? Damn, you're so thick-skinned. Big Dipper gave second elder and Fu Mingxi a big thumbs up. In terms of skin thickness in the Fearless Alliance, the winner had to be this grandfather and grandson duo, right? Yi Wanwan helplessly left the office, allowing second elder and third elder to keep arguing. She drove herself to the Nye residence. Everyone in the Nye family knew about Yi Wanwan's identity, and Patriarch Nye evidently gave specific instructions to the servants after the last time she took Tang Tang outside, so she was allowed inside very smoothly. In the living room, Madame Nye looked at Yi Wanwan with an indulgent and loving smile. "Godmother, I brought this back from China for you." Yi Wanwan took out some presents for her and placed Tang Tang's presents to the side. "You're too kind," Madame Nye said happily. "Oh right, where's Tang Tang?" Yi Wanwan impatiently wanted to see her darling son, her biological son. Madame Nye answered, "We helped Tang Tang enroll in school recently, so he's at school right now." Tang Tang's at school. Yi Wanwan realized that Tang Tang was at the age for attending school. She was truly an irresponsible mom for not even knowing this. Yi Wanwan nodded in response. She originally wanted to directly hand these presents to Tang Tang, but she would have to come again next time. After chatting with Madame Nye for a while, Yi Wanwan planned to leave. She came to the Nye residence to see Tang Tang, and since Tang Tang wasn't home, she wanted to return to Scarlet Flame's academy. Before Yi Wanwan left the Nye residence, she saw Nameless Nye wandering around casually. "Nameless Nye!" Yi Wanwan shouted immediately. "Damn! You scared me to death." Nameless Nye was astonished when he saw her. "Didn't you go back to China to party? When did you come back?" "Forget about that. I'm asking you, what's the deal with the Rose of Death?" Yi Wanwan wanted nothing more than to take a chunk out of Nameless Nye. This liar told her the Rose of Death didn't exist and conned a copyright fee from her. The Rose of Death? Nameless Nye was bewildered. What happened? What about the Rose of Death? What else could have happened? The Rose of Death clearly existed, so why did you tell me the Rose of Death didn't exist? Was it just to scam some copyright fee out of me? Return the money to me. Yi Wanwan extended her hand toward him. "I don't have any money, but I have a life." Nameless Nye promptly shook his head. She wanted him to return money that entered his pockets? No way in hell. Then tell me, what's the deal with the Rose of Death? Do you know that I created a new Rose of Death after I bought the copyright from you? You're going to be the death of me. Yi Wanwan was beside herself with rage. "Ah, sister. It's not that I was lying to you. Our family did write manuscripts for the Rose of Death." Nameless Nye smiled guiltily when he caught Yi Wanwan's murderous gaze. "Hee hee. Alright, fine, the Rose of Death does indeed exist. But it's a taboo in the independent state, so who'd dare to mention it?" "So you're saying the Rose of Death isn't fictional?" Yi Wanwan asked with a frown. Chapter 1888. I have the antidote, eh? Yeah. Nameless Nye nodded. "If my slap lands on your face, you might die." Yi Wanwan raised her hand, wanting nothing more than to kill Nameless Nye with a slap. If her newly created Rose of Death attracted attention from the wrong people, the consequences would be severe. "Sister, don't be scared. The Rose of Death, it's history. Forget about your newly founded Rose of Death. Even if you created a new faction and called it the Father of the Independent State, it'd be fine. It's just a name, don't worry," Nameless Nye asserted. "Just what kind of demon and malevolent spirit is Nameless Nye? The Father of the Independent State. Ha, why didn't he outright say, the Grandfather of the Independent State? I'm asking you, what's the situation with the Rose of Death? Tell me everything," Yi Wanwan ordered impatiently. Nameless Nye had no choice but to answer truthfully. In truth, the Rose of Death is an inherited faction passed down every generation, and every leader is a woman called Black Widow. They also another special alias called Eric. Upon seeing Yi Wanwan's fury simmering down gradually, Nameless Nye breathed a sigh of relief and continued, "Actually, the Rose of Death was annihilated many years ago and became history. Based on what I know, the Rose of Death was very strong and struck panic and terror into the entire independent state, so how did such a formidable organization get destroyed? And who destroyed them? Yi Wanwan asked inquisitively. Nameless Nye shook his head. How would I know? I am unfamiliar with the Rose of Deet, oh right, what does Eric mean? Yi Wanwan recalled the alias that Si Bai mentioned. I don't know the details, but it should mean, Avenger, Nameless Nye answered. Avenger? Against whom? Yi Wanwan reflexively asked. Nameless Nye shook his head. How would I know that much? How about, you ask my mom or dad? The older generation will definitely know more than me. Yi Wanwan naturally couldn't ask Patriarch Nye and Madame Nye. Since Nameless Nye was clueless, she'd leave the matter at that since the Rose of Death didn't have much to do with her. At most, she'd change her new faction's name. Oh right. Yi Wanwan's eyes shifted, and she took out the ancient and simple ring and handed it to Nameless Nye. Take a look at this. Do you recognize this ring? Nameless Nye accepted the ring and turned it around to examine it. A while later, he looked at Yi Wanwan with a frown. What is it? Yi Wanwan hastily asked. This ring. It's a rare material and the workmanship is complicated and unusual. It's definitely worth a lot. Nameless Nye stared intently at the ring. Look at this contour, tsk. Look at this material. Is this your ring, sister? I have some channels, so how about we auction it off? I'll take 30 and you take 70, or fine, I'll take 20 and you take 80. As expected, she was an idiot for having hope in Nameless Nye. Give it back. Yi Wanwan snapped. Okay, Nameless Nye honestly returned the ring to Yi Wanwan, hesitation brimming from his face. Oh right. Nameless Nye slapped his thigh and made a last-ditch effort. Sister, I've prepared the antidote for your love goo. Do you really not want it? You're running out of time, so you mustn't joke with your life. How about you exchange this ring for it? If you round it off, it'd be the same as getting the antidote for free. Haha. Your math is rather good. Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes at him. I told you I don't need it. I have an antidote with excellent effects. Your worrying is unnecessary. Yi Wanwan mercilessly cut off Nameless Nye's source of income. Chapter 1889 Image will collapse. After returning from the Nye residence, Yi Wanwan didn't hurry and return to the academy to submit her missions. Instead, she planned to wait until the charity auction finished in 3 days, after she won Emperor Ji's personal ring, before submitting all those completed missions together. The next few days, she took care of all the paperwork for the Fearless Alliance that had piled up during her absence and studied the newly issued missions from Scarlet Flame's Academy to see if there were any quick missions she could accept. In the blink of an eye, the day of the auction arrived. This annual charity auction was one of the largest banquets in the independent state. It was organized by the 4 great clans, the Shen, the Ji, the Nye, and the Ling clans, and all the leaders and renowned people of the independent state were invited. They adhered to the principle, love and charity are borderless, so the invited guests weren't restricted by which side of the law they were on or their sects and factions. Hence, even a notorious organization like the Fearless Alliance was given an invitation by the 4 great clans. However, with the Fearless Alliance's temperament, they naturally wouldn't attend such an uncharacteristic charity auction. Their Fearless Alliance also had the baggage of an idol. On their way there, Big Dipper kept staring at the invitation and grumbling, Sis Fong, do we really have to go to this charity auction? Our Fearless Alliance's image will collapse. When the Fearless Alliance typically wanted to do something good, they directly stuffed the money in that person's hands and the person had to take it whether they wanted to or not, or else they would receive a round of beatings. Who would attend this kind of monotonous charity banquet? Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes at him. Enough nonsense. Did you figure out when Emperor Ji's ring will be auctioned? Big Dipper pursed his lips. Who needs to dig into this? It'll definitely be the climax, arranged toward the end. Yi Wanwan did some research about the event before coming. The independent states' charity auction was similarly structured to China's charity auctions. Essentially, a prestigious brand name or organization invited celebrities of all circles to attend. The invited celebrities would each donate at least one item that would be auctioned by the attending guests, and the funds obtained from the auction would be donated. There would be all sorts of items ranging from valuable and precious accessories and jewels to personal items of famous people like clothes, fountain pens, or even used handkerchiefs. The prices for these everyday items depended on their owner. For example, Emperor Ji's ring. As the heir of the Ji family, one of the four great clans, and the Emperor of Europe's underground with the title, Emperor Ji, Ji Xiuran had an immensely high popularity and prestige in the independent state. Hence, as one of the top treasures of the night, the ring would certainly be the focus of many people and be very popular and sought after. However, what they probably couldn't have expected was for a bandit boss to appear tonight. 7-Star looked unhappy the entire journey, and his expression darkened further after he took a call midway through the ride. "What's up with you, old 7? Why do you look so unhappy? Are you also afraid of humiliating yourself? How about we conceal our faces together?" 7-Star's eye kept twitching, and he dismally said, "We can't let the president go. I just got news that Lord Azura will attend tonight too." Emperor Ji alone was enough to raise his nerves and set him on edge. But adding Lord Azura into the mix, who knew what havoc Sis Feng would wreak? Big Dipper's eyes shot open. "Fuck me. Lord Azura is also going. That's great. Our fearless alliance won't be at the bottom anymore. Azura coming to this kind of event would definitely be more shocking than the fearless alliance. This way, they wouldn't be as humiliated." Chapter 1890. Even a honeypot trap isn't effective. 7-Star lost all desire to respond to Big Dipper's point of emphasis. Yuanwan propped her head and glanced at them. "What are you two mumbling about?" As they spoke, the car arrived in front of the banquet hall. Yuanwan straightened her clothes and stepped out of the car. To preserve the last of the Fearless Alliance's face and pride, Yuanwan didn't wear any formal attire and stayed in her carefree outfit. When 7-Star saw Yuanwan about to enter, he hastily walked forward and blocked Yuanwan. "Sis Feng, wait, what is it?" Yuanwan sent 7-Star a questioning look. "Sis Feng, we really aren't suited for this kind of setting. I think." Before 7-Star could finish, Yuanwan's gaze shot past him and fixated on a point behind him. "Sis Feng." Yuanwan's attention seemed to be completely sucked by some force behind 7-Star. She extended her hands and directly moved 7-Star to the side, a smile curling on her lips. She jubilantly called, "Hey, Lord Azura. Long time no see." 7-Star froze and turned around robotically. A black car had parked in front of the banquet hall, and Lord Azura was expressionlessly standing there like a block of ice from the Arctic with a normal-looking servant and Jiang Yan next to him. 7-Star didn't know whether it was his imagination or not, but he felt like Lord Azura shattered like ice the moment he saw their president, and the air around Lord Azura froze. Even the slow-witted Big Dipper subconsciously shuddered. Why do I feel like Lord Azura is a little angry at our president?" But it couldn't be blamed. Any beauty who was constantly pestered by a lecherous character would understandably become angry and outraged. However, Yuanwan, the culprit, acted like she didn't sense anything and continued to greet him with a grin. "Ah, sir, why don't you look so good? Who provoked you?" Crack after crack appeared on that eternally unchanging icy face, as though he would lose control in the next second. Flames were leaping from his frosty eyes. "You," the man uttered between gritted teeth. He had to use all of the self-control he had to stabilize his emotions so that he didn't chomp this woman, who appeared in the independent state and showed up in front of him, to death. "Fuck me, Yuanwan, why is she back in the independent state?" Lin Kei silently cursed, flabbergasted. As for Jiang Yan, he automatically interpreted his lord's attitude as detest toward Yuanwan, so he coldly walked forward and stopped Yuanwan. "Please respect yourself, President Bai." Lin Kei couldn't help it and leaned forward, quietly whispering next to Si Yihan's ears, "Damn. Seriously. A person would rather believe there are ghosts in this world than listening to the words coming out of Yuanwan's mouth. She spun you around in circles with her beguiling words. She docilely agreed on the phone a second ago but appeared in front of you a second later. When I was young, my mom told me that the more beautiful a woman, the less credible her words were. It's really true, tut tut tut, he never would have expected ninth brother to make a blunder and miscalculation one day. What happened exactly? Even a honeypot trap isn't effective anymore. Chapter 1891. Lin K got halfway through his tut when he met his ninth brother's icy, snowy eyes. He immediately closed his mouth and shut up. The man enveloped by ice took a deep breath and wanted to suppress the storm that wanted to engulf him, but this time, he actually failed. He stared at the girl in front of him, his tone barely concealing his fury. I heard President Bai went to China. Why are you back so soon? Jiang Yan was shocked when he saw his lord starting a conversation with Bai Feng out of his own volition. His lord had never acknowledged Bai Feng much. Yuanwan appeared to become more elated from Lord Azura's words. Her curved and shimmering eyes caused her naked face to look extremely radiant and alluring. Yuanwan mockingly teased, I originally wanted to stay in China longer, but unfortunately, I turned sick from longing for a person, so I couldn't help but come flying back. She intentionally emphasized the words, turned sick from longing, and cheerfully stared at his face. Big Dipper, 7-star, I knew it. The president would definitely talk without thinking as soon as she saw Lord Azura. Didn't she see how Lord Azura looks extremely displeased? Why couldn't she rein it in a bit? Next to see Yihan, Lin K grumbled quietly, turned sick from longing for a person. Who? As the atmosphere grew tenser, a gentle voice appeared from behind them. President Bai. Yuanwan turned to the source and felt her little heart warming a few degrees from Lord Azura's chilly breeze when she saw the newcomer's kind and gentle face. She waved her hand and greeted him. Ah, Emperor Ji. What a coincidence. She then added casually, I've missed you from our long days apart. Lin K's eyes shot open, and he blurted, he's that girl's reason for turning sick from longing. Don't tell me that girl really took a fancy to Ji Xiuran. Of course, she could also covet both Lord Azura and Ji Xiuran. Lin K kept glancing at Lord Azura with trepidation as he grumbled. What a sin. Regardless of this girl's reason for returning to the independent state, the grassland above ninth brother's head was so fertile that horses could stampede across it. Ji Xiuran imperceptibly glanced at Lord Azura before looking at Yuanwan and said with a smile, a coincidence indeed. Are you also here to attend the banquet, President Bai? Yuanwan heard the surprise in Ji Xiuran's voice and explained, yeah. There happens to be something I'm interested in amongst tonight's auction items. Something you're interested in? Ji Xiuran asked. Yuanwan coughed lightly. Hee, yeah. May I ask what item struck President Bai's fancy? Ji Xiuran looked intrigued. Yuanwan's lips twitched. It wasn't like she could say, I want your closely worn ring, right? It sounded weird no matter how she said it. Ahem, nothing, Yuanwan couldn't make herself say it. Ahem, ninth brother, Lin K wanted to say something but discovered Lord Azura had disappeared from his side and started entering the banquet hall already, so he hastily followed. Humph, vixen. Jiang Yan also quickly followed. Yuanwan exasperatedly glanced at Jiang Yan. PFT, can't this guy use a different name? Can't he be more creative? One day, I'll make you change it to Madame Azura.